the best half that we played all year, and you probably saw which could be the worst half that we played all year. That just shows a little bit about where we are in terms of execution and being able to adjust to different types of defensive schemes. You know, we struggled a little bit against zone defense. We've been a little inconsistent with our perimeter shooting, but that's what teams that maybe are dominated by first-year guys would do. Now, the positive thing about that is that we're finding a way to win games while we're still growing and developing. And if we can just keep finding ways to win while we learning and overcoming our inexperienced plays during the course of games, I think we might could end up be pretty good if we continue to keep growing and finding ways to win, even though we're not really playing at our best. Naheem gave us a tremendous effort tonight. Malik. We played him more minutes than we would like to because they basically play what you call a 5-out offense, and they don't really post anyone up, which makes it a little more difficult for our 7-footers to defend. Everyone's a 3-point shooter. They're 6'10" center, reverses the ball and shoot threes. So we needed a smaller lineup with Malik out there so we could really contain the dribbling. We did a very good job in the first half. Second half, I thought that they mixed their defenses up, went to a little zone. They didn't stay with that very long. And then they went to trapping us, and we didn't handle the trap very well. Became very tentative. We have a lot on our, we have a lot of good play to show them that we can grow, that we can build on. And then we had some poor play that I think we can point out that hopefully we'll learn from and not let it be much more prepared the next time we get in this situation. So any questions?
Yeah, Leonard, how hard is that for players that haven't been in that situation a lot to try to run clock, but also still get good shots? I mean, it's just not something you normally see, I guess.
No, and we have not been in that situation. There's no doubt about that. And Miami very seldom ever played that style of defense. When you, early on in the year, we always prepare for traps. We always prepare every day before we play a game, we go over situations and we prepare for that. But we have not experienced that very much. And I thought that we were very vulnerable. But that, we told them that they would, at halftime, that they probably was gonna play some zone, which they did. And we scored easy against the zone, they got out of it. We knew that they were gonna trap full court and half court, but preparing them mentally for that and then not them going out in the court and executing against it is another thing. I'm just glad that we were able to play against it, show our vulnerability. We'll go back now and work against it. We'll be much more prepared for that type of defensive system the next time we face it.
Caleb definitely contributed to some of the turnover issues, but he was also big in that one stretch. I mean, he, I think at one point stepped up and scored on 3 straight trips in the closing minutes there when y'all really needed it. I guess, what's it say about him kind of being the guy to rise to that occasion?
Well, there's no doubt that he has the ability to score points. He did turn the ball over. And you will say he got credit for the turnover. Well, for whatever reason, even in the first half when we were playing well, guys have to make themselves available for passes. And for whatever reason, even when he was in those situations, guys were calling for the ball, but they wasn't meeting the ball. You know, they wasn't advancing toward it, and which made him, you know, hesitant to throw the ball. But overall, that's part of executing against trapping type defenses. And I'm sure we'll be much better prepared for it in the future. One thing that we've always been we've taken a lot of pride in that over the years, we've very seldom has anyone ever been able to press us and effectively, because I think our press schemes have been very effective, and we have a variety of them. And normally we're not bothered by people who come with that type of defensive scheme. Tonight, we definitely showed a lot of our vulnerability.
If you guys are, I know it's still early in the season, but from where, we're for having a younger team and, a lot of new faces to right now be first place in the conference. I know it's not an accomplishment yet because it doesn't matter what you do in January, but it still shows a lot, right? For a team that has a lot of new faces.
I do think that we show potential.
Right.
You gain confidence when you are successful and you play a complete game. The day we played was well enough to come away with a victory. And I thought we played outstanding the first half. Our defensive schemes were on point. The second half, we showed our vulnerability. And I also think that 4 games in 8 days kind of took a toll there a little bit. If you notice, in the first 2 or 3 minutes of the game, Polite and Caleb were actually to come out of the game 2 minutes into the second half. And that's when I knew that, we were going to be a little more challenged. And I thought fatigue had a lot to do with us cutting a little slow and not eating the pass as much as we were in the first half. I was concerned all morning about what 4 games in 8 days would do. And I was pleasantly surprised the first half when we came out and played with a lot of energy. And if you notice, we kept our guys fresh and they were mindful of it. And they kept asking, raising their hand saying, I need a blower. I need to get someone else in. The second half, 2 minutes into the game, I only have one starter on the floor. And I think that had a little bit to do with us being sluggish and not quite as quick and aggressive to the ball in the second half.
Coach, do you think 6-7 games ago, this team could have, would have been able to hold off a run from a talented team like Miami, like they did in the second half? Or have you seen this winning streak kind of, develop their confidence and their ability within themselves?
Well, the first half, it was obvious that we were on point in everything that we did. The second half, we showed that we were vulnerable to a press. Early in the year, we showed that we were vulnerable to executing against the zone defense. But that's kind of who we are right now. And we got to enjoy this victory for a minute, but now we go on to play Georgia Tech, and that's the same team that beat us in the championship game last year. And by the way, they use the zone defense. So we need to go back and clean up some things. But I like this team. I like our potential. I love our players' attitude, the camaraderie and chemistry that we have. And I was glad that we overcame a challenging situation on the road against a team that was the #1 team in our league.